Hi, it's Lisa, and in this video I want to discuss cardinality and multiplicity. So cardinality is simply the relationship type that we know, such as one-to-one, one-to-many, or many-to-many. On the other hand, multiplicity is the range. So to understand that, let's look at a couple of examples. If you look at the first two join lines that we see here, they indicate the cardinality. They don't indicate the multiplicity. If you look at the last four join lines here, however, they show both the cardinality and the multiplicity. So these first two just show the cardinality, again, what type of join it is. So in this is the one side of a join, and this would be the many side of a join. But down here we see the multiplicity, and this is showing the range. And you can see the different range options are here. So this is one and only one. This means 0 to 1. This means 1 to many. So it corresponds to records, and I'll show you an example in just a second. And this last one is 0 to many. All right. These, both the cardinality and the multiplicity can be selected in Visio or any other cloud-based modeling tool. And in Visio, for example, all you would do is right-click on the join if you need to set the right cardinality and multiplicity. If you're using another tool, sometimes you have to find the right join line that has both of the symbols that you need. All right, well, what do these symbols mean? How do you read them? The easiest way to understand that is to look at an example. So this is an example where we have books and we have faculty, and there is a loan program where faculty can check out books, or books can be loaned to faculty. Perhaps these are hard to find pedagogy books. So this is a many-to-many relationship. For one book, there can be many faculty that check it out over time, and for one faculty member, that one faculty member can check out many books over time. So it's modeled as a many-to-many with a junction table in the middle, and of course in a many-to-many, really what happens is you have two separate one-to-many join lines here. So one-to-many, and the crow's feet of course are attached to that junction table. All right, well, what I want to show you here is how to read the join line when you have those two different symbols on each end. So let's zoom up a little bit so we can look at that join line a little more closely. I'm going to focus just on this left side here, which is the relation between book and loan. So what you do is you go left to right and then right to left, which we've done before, and I illustrated in a previous video. So what you do is you start with that left table and you say, for one record in this table, regardless of what the symbols are here, just for one record in this book table, how many related records could there be in the loan table? And the answer is from 0 to many. So this is how you read it. You read it from the inside out, and that's the range, from 0 to many. And this makes sense because it could be that for one book, there could be as few as 0 loan records. There may be a book there that just no one has checked out yet. And of course there could be as many different loans for that particular book. Well, then you go the other direction and you say, all right, for one loan record, so another thing, you got to visualize a row in that loan table. For one loan record, how many books can there be? And again, you read the symbols here, but you say for one loan record here, and then you say here, one and only one book, and you read it inside out. So you're always reading these symbols inside out, even though they're both one here. But you say one and only one book. So that makes sense. For one loan record, if you think about a row in that loan table, you're only going to indicate one particular book in that row. Now, if a faculty member wants to check out 3 different books, that's fine, but there's going to be 3 different rows or 3 different records in that loan table, one for each of those books. All right, that gives you a sense of how to read those joins and read the 2 different symbols. Let's look at another example. So here's a building location scenario, and when I was putting this together, I was thinking of buildings and locations at Bellevue College, so you might recognize these. So here on the left I've got building and I've got location, and I really have it in sort of a one-to-many relationship. Now, all of this, what the cardinality, what the multiplicity looks like really depends on the business rules and the data. And so you need to know a little bit more about the Bellevue College building and location data and how I envision it. So we all are familiar with the buildings, and there are all alphabetical letters. So there's building A, building B, building N, which is where the big computer labs are. And then the way I'm defining locations is anything from a room to a certain area on the campus. For example, one of the athletic fields would be considered a location per Bellevue College. So what I'm saying is that down here, for one building, for example, building A, there can be many locations. But for one location, there's only one building, and there may not even be a building. So I have to adjust the symbols here. So let's start again. Let's go to building. So for one building, and we can think of the data up here, for like building A, how many locations could there be? Well, down here I'm saying as few as one and as many as many. So as few as one, the assumption is that, or the rule is that if we have a building, it's going to have at least one room, so it's going to have at least one room location over here. But it can also have many, and we can see that here. Here's building A, and we can see at least 2 records so far of different locations that correspond to building A. All right, going the other direction, for one location, how many buildings could there be? Again, we're reading these symbols from the inside out, and so we're saying as few as 0 and as many as 1. So there can be from 0 to 1 corresponding building records. Well, we see that because if you take, for example, room A132, it does have a corresponding building. But if you take, for example, the athletic field down here, there is no corresponding building. So yes, you can have a foreign key that is null. That is possible. So again, for one location, there can be as few as 0 corresponding buildings and as many as 1. So there's either 0 or 1 corresponding buildings. Now, if you look, let's go back to the book, loan, and faculty example. The typical join line that's the default in Visio and often the default in other cloud-based modeling tools is the join line where you have the 0 and many on one side and the // the one and only one on the other side. So that's the typical default. Again, if you want to change that in Visio, you just right-click. And the reason it's the default is because there are a lot of cases where that's the typical scenario. The related records are 0 to many on the many side and one and only one on the one side. But again, what I'd like you to do is think about some of the scenarios you're working with and when you might come across an example where it's a little different than your typical 0 to many and one and only one. And here's one example. All right, that's it for this slide deck and this video.